Hi, this is Gail from New Mother, New Baby Lactation Center in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am here today to give you guys a tutorial on how to use the BabyWeigh Scale. The BabyWeigh Scale is a hospital grade $2,000 scale that measures accurately to plus or minus 2 mLs, which is just like a couple of drops. So if you are really struggling to see how much your baby's getting, it can be worth it to get a really good scale. We rent these here, so likely if you are watching this video, it's likely that you are actually renting a scale from us and you want to know exactly how to use it. Before you start, it's always a good idea to get out a piece of paper and a pen and have that nearby so you can write down the pre-weight and write down the post-weight. And that way, even if you mess up the first few times using the scale, it will be really easy. So a couple things that I want to tell you is when you're weighing your baby, make sure you're weighing your baby exactly with what they're wearing before you weigh them as to what they're wearing after you weigh them. You don't want to change their diaper in between. You don't want to change anything in between because that's the only way to get an accurate weight. Some of you may want to just do one side at a time to see how much they're getting on just one side. I know here in the office, I usually will do the right breast and then the left breast or vice versa. And that way you can see exactly how much you're getting at each breast. If you're doing this alone, it could probably be more helpful to do this, just do both breasts at the same time and make it as easy as possible for yourself because it's hard enough just taking care of your baby without doing these pre and post weights. But I will tell you, most people who rent scales love them. They find them very useful. And I really feel for such an important thing as making sure your baby's getting enough to eat, it's an invaluable thing to use to make sure your baby is getting enough. And it gives you the information you need so you can make confident decisions moving forward. It's really hard at the beginning to keep triple feeding and not knowing if your baby's getting enough. Sometimes if the baby really isn't getting enough, sometimes pumping and bottle feeding can be a good thing to do, even if it's just for a week or two with some breastfeeding sprinkled in there to keep baby familiar at the breast. If you are struggling, make a lactation visit because it makes a huge difference to be working with somebody to make sure that everything is going well, and then we give you guidance along the way to make sure that, you know, if something's going a little awry, that you're going in the right direction. So, okay, now with the scale, when you put a blanket or something on the scale, I usually put something down on the scale. Just make sure it's not dripping off the sides because you don't want anything that's gonna affect the weight. So put a blanket on, make sure it's not dripping off or falling off the sides. Make sure that the bottom, the feet on the scale, which I'll show you in a second, I usually just tighten those up. And also make sure that the scale is on a hard, flat surface, not on a bed. And if it's sort of, make sure it's not touching anything because that will also alter the scale if something's touching the side of the scale. So, okay, so with that, I'm going to come over to the scale here and I'm going to give you guys a little closer view so you can see it a little more clearly. I feel like it's a little blurry, so let me back up a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think that looks better. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this little kind of cloth paper thing and I'm gonna put it on the scale here so nothing's falling off the sides. I'm also gonna show you, these are the feet of the scale that I was telling you about. So these are nice and tight, but if they were, you know, loose like that, I would just tighten them up a little bit. Doesn't have to be super tight. And if you're using the plug plugs in right over here. So you would take that out or you would put it in. I just took it out so you could see. And if you don't have a plug nearby, an outlet, then use 6 C batteries go in here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the scale. This is the on 0 button. So I always wait till it zeroes out before I put the baby on. And now it's just zeroed out and we heard a little beep. Okay, now I'm gonna grab the baby and put the baby on the scale. Okay, here we go. Okay, and I'm gonna wait till I hear a beep. Okay, and so now this baby weighs 6 pounds, 8 ounces, and 5/10 of an ounce. The 0 sometimes confuses people, and the 0 is actually just a placeholder. So the weight is 68.5. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this weight entry button right here. And then I'm going to go and feed the baby. So, or the mom is going to go and feed the baby. So, okay, so now the baby is being fed. The baby's being fed. Just fed the baby. Now I'm going to come back to the scale. Okay, and I am going to press the on 0 button right here. And then I'm going to put the baby back on like that. And I'm going to see how much did the baby take at the breast. And so now I'm going to, it beeped again. So I listened for the beep. And this time I'm going to press and hold this weight gain button right here. So when I press and hold it, it tells me my baby took 1.3 ounces at the breast. And that's how much the baby took. Now, if I had only fed one side, I would go back and I would feed on the other side. So that gives you a quick tutorial of how to use the BabyWeigh scale. But like I said, the first few times you use it, you might goof up. So make sure that you have a pen and paper and do it by hand. But as well, till you get used to it. But then it's really easy once you do it. It's very easy. And in the scale that you got, if you rented it from us, I do have like a little cheat sheet of scale directions in there. So use those. And that is how to use the BabyWeigh scale. I love scales. Whenever any of my own kids have their kids, I always have a scale at their house because I need to know what the baby's getting at the breast. And I find them very useful as a lactation consultant. So good luck. And if you have any questions, you can always reach us at newmom888@gmail.com. You can email us if you have any questions. You can also make an appointment with us at www.newmothernewbaby.com. If you're having trouble or you're struggling, make a lactation visit with somebody near you because it can make a huge difference. Okay, thanks.